Welcome back to another video on the George Benson football channel. I sighed because I don't want to be sat in a jumper in my office at the end of July. It's annoying. I'm typical English in the sense that I complain about the weather all the flipping time. Last week we're talking about record temperatures. The record temperature in the United Kingdom was broken in Cambridge. We had the lightning storm of all lightning storms. It was shocking. Subscribe for dreadful banter. Can't really come back from this one. Now it's just raining, it's cold, it's getting dark again in the evenings. I feel like that's the only problem with the start of the football season. Once you get to August, you kind of know that the summer's almost over. I'm going to stop moaning. I'm just going to shut up. We're going to talk about 4 things that we need to see, or I need to see, and maybe you guys want to see all of these things too, before the end of pre-season. We've got RB Salzburg tonight, and then on the 3rd of August we're playing in Germany against Borussia Mochengladbach. And instead of doing 2 match previews for those 2 games, I thought I would just combine it together and we could talk about 4 things that I think would be great for Frank Lampard to try and implement between now and the Manchester United game, which is becoming very close now. We're getting close to the start of the season. We're at the tail end, you could say the business end of pre-season. The penultimate match is tonight in Austria against RB Salzburg. I'm going to be streaming from 10 minutes before kickoff all the way through the match, and then about 20 minutes after the game as well. We're going to be commentating, analysing, reacting. I'm going to be here in the office. It's going to be a load of fun, so make sure you tune into the channel. The first thing that I think we need to see before pre-season is over is Mason Mount and Ross Barkley in the 4-2-3-1 formation, which seems to be Frank's favoured formation. We need to see those 2 playing together. We saw it very briefly in the game against St. Patrick's, but we're talking about a lot of progression now. We're talking about fitness progression. We are talking about opponent progression. No offence to St. Patrick's, but our pre-season's kind of got tougher and tougher as it's gone on. We played the 2 games in Ireland. That was a nice little ease into things. Then we had Kawasaki, who are a very good team in Japan. They're 3rd in their league. They won it last season. They're in the middle of their season. It was a real test of Chelsea's fitness, and we came unstuck in that one. Then it was Barcelona, regardless of who they fielded. We're talking about a completely different footballing philosophy that Frank was going to need to be tactically prepared for, which he was, and we came through that one. The game against Reading, despite all of the, how can we say it? Despite the beef that was going on between myself and plenty of Reading fans on social media, I actually think Reading played very well, and I think it was a great test for Frank's team, and I think it was a good showing of where we're at right now, what we need to work on. But I'd love to see Ross Barkley and Mason Mount together once again, now that we are starting to really get a feel for the way we're playing. Both of them individually have staked a huge claim for starting the game against Manchester United. I will be releasing my video as to who I think is going to start for United and who should start against United, next Thursday. So stay tuned for that one. There's definitely got to be a way that Frank can incorporate 2 players that are playing that well in the same team. And I think it's very easy to do that if we're playing in the 4-2-3-1 formation, which it looks as though Frank is going to be employing as we go into the new season. Ross Barkley can play in the middle. He's not as good out on the left as Mason Mount is. I think we saw against Reading, he played over on the left and he kept coming in when we were playing in that kind of diamond-like formation. I'd love to see the 2 of them in that 4-2-3-1 with either Pulisic starting on the right, maybe Pedro. If Willian is back in training now, maybe we can see a couple of minutes for him in one of the 2 matches we've got left over on the right-hand side with Ross Barkley and Mason Mount behind the striker. That is one thing that I think we have to see. I think they're both playing so well, and I think Frank would be foolish to not try, at least, to put both of them in at once. The second thing I'd really like to see, and it comes off of the back of what was a bit of a shaky defensive performance in the game against Reading, I'd like to see a clean sheet. If we could get all that we really want here, I'd like to see 2 clean sheets against both Salzburg and Borussia Mochengladbach, but at least 1. I want to see Kepa again, playing a full 90 minutes in goal. Willy Caballero, he didn't have the best game against Reading, but at the same time, I also feel like we couldn't really ask for a better person within the squad in order to be our second choice goalkeeper next season. So I'm happy with Willy, but I'd like to see Kepa given a 90 minutes, and as well as that, solidity from Chelsea, particularly when it comes to defending the set pieces. I think it's really important that we stop shipping these goals from similar situations, and we're going to play against United, and obviously we're going to raise our game there. They're also going to be up for it as well. It's the first game of the season. It doesn't matter if it's against a newly promoted side at home, where you'd expect to win on paper, or United away. It's going to be very tough in that game, and I think United could hurt us in set piece situations. So I want to see a clean sheet. I want to see a more solid performance defensively. I think we need it, because right now it's looking like we're very good going forward, but there are still frailties at the back. The third thing that I think we need to see in the 2 pre-season games we've got left is Tammy Abraham and Olivier Giroud playing as a two-striker combination up front. Yes, I've already said 4-2-3-1. It seems to be Frank's best formation. It's his go-to formation from what we've seen in pre-season so far, and I think we've seen the best of these Chelsea players within the squad and within the pre-season squad in particular with that formation. Now, with the two strikers, we can either play it in this diamond formation. We can play it in the 4-4-2. It could be a diamond. It might not be a diamond. But with the two strikers, we've been talking about Tammy and Michy playing together, and I even said in my 6 things we learned from the Reading video that even though individually there are a lot of positives, I felt like that link between the two of them was something that was definitely missing in that game against Reading. They were trying to find one another with passes and it wasn't quite working. What we have with Olivier Giroud that we probably don't necessarily have with Batshuayi is not only somebody who's brilliant in the air most of the time, but he's also a very intelligent football player. I'm not saying Batshuayi isn't intelligent, but Olivier Giroud is very experienced. He knows when to shoot, he knows when to pass, he's very good at holding up the ball, and I think we need to utilise him quite similarly to what France do with the national team, where Giroud doesn't necessarily come up with all the goals, but he draws people out of the game from the opposition and draws his teammates into the game to create space for people to score goals, which is how you win a football match. So I'd like to see Tammy and Olivier given a little run out together. I think we've got 4 halves of football to come. We have seen a lot of changes during pre-season, as we always do, and I'd like to see those two given a little run out together, just so that we can keep weighing up the options. I don't think Batshuayi and Giroud is going to be a great partnership, if I'm honest. The two together, I don't think it's going to work, but Tammy and Olivier, I think there could be something there. The final thing that I think we need to see between now the end of pre-season and that game against Manchester United is more minutes for the youngsters. A lot of the questions right now at Chelsea is, are we going to roll with the experience? The likes of Willian, Pedro, is David Luiz going to consistently play alongside Rudiger as a solid back 4? We've got the likes of Tomori, who's not gone out on loan yet. We've still got Kennedy, who impressed against Reading. We've got Mason Mount, who I've mentioned already, and we've got the American Christian Pulisic. I feel as though these youngsters are going to be tested in these next 2 games. Obviously, Pulisic, he's played against Mochengladbach before. It could be good to stick him in that environment so that we can really see what his strengths are against familiar opposition. But I also think the game against Salzburg, people are underestimating them. I don't think people realise that we're actually up against a very strong European team in Red Bull Salzburg. And I think these youngsters have got 2 more chances, 2 more games to show that they are ready for Frank Lampard's first team, and that if called upon due to injuries or due to a lack of confidence in other options, these 4 players that I've just mentioned in particular are the ones that I think deserve the minutes and need the minutes in order to keep playing against strong opposition, so that if the Premier League opportunities arise, they are ready for it. So obviously from the 4 things that I've just mentioned, it does suggest yet again that Frank Lampard is going to make a lot of changes in the final 2 matches of pre-season, and I think I said it before a few videos ago that as we get towards the end of pre-season, I want to see Frank using more of an 11 for maybe longer than 45 minutes that he's actually thinking about using against Manchester United. But the more pre-season has progressed, the more I've seen positives from players I may not necessarily have expected to. I feel as though we need to keep on changing it. We need to keep on experimenting so that when that Man United game comes, we've exhausted all of the options and Frank can be very clear as to what the best is. I think the 4-2-3-1 is the strongest formation, but I think it's always good, particularly against the big teams where Chelsea have been very predictable in recent seasons and we've struggled in the games away at Arsenal, against Manchester City. Obviously last year we did beat City, but away from home, we all know what happened. It was awful. So I think having these different options with different formations, different style of players offering different things is very important. And I think with the 2 matches we've got left in pre-season, Frank should definitely try and play more of the youngsters, see who's ready, who's not quite ready, and of course he's got the decision to make as to who makes the Premier League squad and also who makes the Champions League squad. I'm going to be putting out a video next week where I give my 25-man squad, and of course before now and then there may be players that do leave, which may make my decision a lot easier, but if they don't, a few people are going to miss out. So that was 4 things that I think Chelsea need to do and that we need to see as fans between now and Manchester United on the 11th of August. I wish we were the game on the Friday night. They're just not going to stick United versus Chelsea on a Friday night. Liverpool versus Norwich is the opening game of the Premier League season. It means we have to wait an extra 48 hours or 2 days. It's gutting, but it is what it is. I'm going to be at a festival. I'm going to be at the Boardmasters Festival, but I'm going to have to find a way. There's no way I can miss that game. Only we were playing on the Friday night. That would have made life a little bit easier. I'd have had to sacrifice a few acts in order to watch the game, but it is what it is. The season is getting very close now. I'm very excited, and instead of doing, like I've said already, I didn't want to just do 2 previews of both the RB Salzburg game and the Borussia Mochengladbach game. I thought I'd just condense it together. The 4 things I've mentioned today are the 4 things that I think Frank needs to do in order to definitely be confident of the team he takes into that game against Man United. Not only that, we've got a Super Cup game against Liverpool. I'm trying to figure out a way that I can get there. It's bloody expensive with the flights right now, but hopefully I can get out to Istanbul, and then I'll be at the Leicester game as well at Stamford Bridge the following weekend. Thank you guys for watching. If you do enjoy these little videos, be sure to leave a like on the videos, and if you're not yet subscribed to the channel, we're almost at 20,000, which is incredible. I did not expect this channel to grow so quickly, and it's thanks to you guys back in the videos, supporting the videos, commenting, all of that stuff. So if there's anything else that you think Chelsea need to do, or Frank Lampard needs to make the decision about between now and the Man United game, 2 pre-season games left, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I'm basically going to be streaming for about 2.5 hours, and I'll also be doing the same for the game in Germany on Saturday. Thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you all in the stream. See you later. Bye-bye.